Welcome to the 365th episode of the 365 Message Center Show. Thank you for being here with us. On this week's episode, brought to you apparently by Copilot, we have the ability, we're going to cover the ability to create your own custom engine agents, bring in your own LLMs. Hello. We're also going to talk about how, and the only non-Copilot message, yes, the only one, is about how Teams is going to help us be a little bit more predictable, predict where the recording is going to be placed. So we'll dive into that for that. And lastly, we'll talk about the Clipchamp, using Copilot to generate some videos based on prompts. This is going to be a great show. Stick around for all of that and more on this episode. Yes.
365. You often tell me like we don't make big enough deal out of certain numbers, but this number feels like it's in the name.
What? Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting because we talked about before, everyone knows Daryl doesn't like celebrating milestone episodes like 100, 200, 300. He's not into it. But 365, he's definitely into it. He probably even has some, sound effects he can throw in that, celebratory. Yeah, see? It's amazing. So, thank you, everybody, for making this possible, for, sticking around, listening and watching, and you're the reason why we do this. So thank you so much.
Yeah, actually, on that topic, Daniel, we've both done a bit of work to talk to some of our audience and community, and we just wanted to roll a very quick montage of some of the comments that they've had to say about the show and why they listen. Listen up.
I watch the Message Center show because actually it helps me understand what the messages actually mean.
They are entertaining, fun, and so knowledgeable. It's like having two coworkers who've been doing this for years, advising me.
What Microsoft should do next, what they shouldn't do. So it just kind of brings it to life. I leave feeling like I've been in the conversation, and I love it.
So having, Daniel telling you like it is, or Daryl whispering in your ear with that New Zealand accent, what more could you want?
Easy listening, and it keeps me up to date.
I like the perspective that the hosts give in terms of whether I should care or not care, or maybe even think about ways how it might affect my users.
Daniel, Daryl, instrumental in my role, trying to make sure that we're always keeping up to date with the big changes.
It's great what you do for the community, decoding those Message Center messages. We all know they can sometimes be a bit cryptic.
And I love the consistency of all the shows.
It just helps me understand other points of view on things that are about to come.
Hearing you guys talk about it really helps me process the information and the changes and what's happening.
Presented in a way that is fun and interesting to listen to.
Giving us great examples.
Settles in even more when it's in the conversation format that we have between Daniel and Daryl.
You've really helped me out. You really make me look good.
Making us all admins feel not that alone in the complexity of the Microsoft 365 changes.
That's awesome. Thank you, everyone, for sending those in. And also check us out on socials, because some of those videos, longer portions, full videos of what people sent in, are being posted on our socials. So check those out. Some of them have already been posted. So definitely check those out. And we love hearing from you. Daryl, people have said why they listen to the show. I think we should, kind of talk about why we do this and why we keep, why we have done so many episodes. Why have you put up with me, Daryl? Why?
Well, we've said often enough why we started, because it was our way individually of finding a reason to look at the Message Center and understand what was arriving. Why do we keep doing it? Why we continue to do it for 365 episodes? I jokingly said this to Daniel, but I'll say it to all of you too. It's therapy. It really is. Weekly, when Daniel and I get together and talk about stuff like this, we we go through things and we talk about it and try and make sense of it. And it's just as much for us as it is for you all. And the other half to this, of course, you saw it with the videos. We really enjoy learning from all of you and from your opinions too, and trying to make sense of it all together, because it is a community effort. So that's why we keep doing it. We've adapted things over years in the way that we do it, but we have fun with that, and it's really, really cool to be part of it. What about you, Daniel?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think, while we might be the face of some of these conversations because of the show, it doesn't mean we know everything. Surprise, surprise. We don't know everything. We're not the experts on everything, but we as a community are, right? We are experts. And so, sometimes Daryl will say something wrong. I never have, but Daryl, just kidding, of course, we'll say something based upon our experience, and maybe you have a different experience and a different perspective, and somebody will throw it in the comments. Hey, here's a different perspective. Great. Thank you for telling us your different perspective on this. And I think that's really why I keep doing this, other than, working with you, Daryl, is just, being part of that bigger community. And I love hearing people say they use this show to augment, to add to their work, and it helps them, get their job done. So, just love it. Absolutely.
Yep.
And
definitely came out with those. Yeah.
Daryl, as a special thank you to our watchers and listeners, and the people who have not skipped this part of the episode and have listened. I'm going to make this time talking about a giveaway. I want to do a giveaway. So here's how you enter the giveaway. You send us an email, contact@365mcs.com, subject giveaway. Okay. And unfortunately, this is only open for US listeners. I'm sorry, because what it is a subscription to Microsoft 365 personal subscription. So it's that personal, a 1-year subscription for you for Microsoft 365 personal. No, it does not include Copilot. I'm so sorry. But, actually, I think it will. Now that I say that, I think with the new addition to Copilot, with the personal and family plans, I think it will include Copilot in your apps. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we're doing a giveaway. So send us an email. The US people will figure something out for everybody else. I'm sorry. This code is only for the US. It won't work for anybody else. Send us an email, contact@365mcs.com. and say, have the subject giveaway. We'll randomly draw from those emails and award a winner. So send in that email. But only for our listeners. So please send it in. I wouldn't tell anybody else. Only our listeners. Only the listeners and watchers.
So organized of you to have it there ready and waiting to draw from the shelf. Here's something that we can give away.
Yes.
Hey, Daniel, over the years of us doing shows like this, and sometimes we've done it at events like Ignite as well, it's like we're doing a weather report, because no matter how exciting we are and what we've got to say, but we also, we just deal with what comes. And, sometimes there'll be, tons of messages to wade our way through, and some that are heavier on certain subjects or products than others. This week we have 5 messages, and we've turned 4 of them to be quick. So, we could get into it, huh?
Well, yes, and that's kind of the way the show goes, is we roll with the punches, we roll with what's there, and we give you our input. We'd love to hear your input, as always. Throw it in the comments, hit us up on the socials, all the socials that matter at 365MCS. Daryl, kick us off with our first Copilot message, and make it custom just for this message, please.
Oh, customize it. Yeah, well, and that is the very topic because Daniel, over the years, has become so good at these segues. Microsoft 365 Copilot, new custom engine agents, MC 985480. I did have to read this one over a few times to understand it. We've also, again, just as a side comment, you've heard this too, messages can be authored by various people in the product chain. Can be product marketing, can be engineering, can be somewhere in between, can be communicators. And sometimes we find messages are a bit harder to wade through and see what has actually been said. So that's our role. That's why we do the show. It's a big one because when I read it high level, it is about allowing you to create, or rather you might have created your own agent with maybe your own language models. And I think one of the examples we came up with as we were talking and preparing was it could be based on supporting banking queries. And you could have used a bunch of information there to create your own language model. So this is a very customized agent and agent experience, and this message is announcing the ability to bring that into the Microsoft 365 Copilot experience. So it's not just that you have to use the Microsoft 365 Copilot and the graph side of things, but it's really, leaning into creating your own agents. That's how I understood it, Daniel. It's a bit longer than that. Of course, there's some good images, I guess, that show you part of the process and what it looks like to bring those in terms of integration.
Yeah, and it's talking about LLMs. You can use things like Law MDA, and as one, and there's some other large language models out there. But I'm wondering, I don't know, it didn't say this, but maybe we could use some small language models, right? That like you were talking about for the banking industry or the legal industry or the healthcare or whatever, and it being specific toward those kind of things for us to create our agents. But yeah, cool. I'm glad we're getting some flexibility.
Definitely. Yep. So I have to admit I am quickly falling behind in terms of all the different areas of expertise that you need to have to understand Microsoft 365, actually just Copilot in depth. So the details there in the message. We've tried to decipher what it means. But yeah, go ahead and check out the detail if this is what you're doing and looking forward to creating your own custom engine agents. This is going to be available. Where is it? There it is. Public preview will begin rolling out early February and complete by mid-March, and general availability worldwide will begin rolling out late March, expected to be complete early April. And let's stick with Copilot. Let's call it business chat today. It looks like there's something that we've often wanted to do from a business chat, Daniel, and we wanted to continue in the fuller, richer tools. So tell us what's going to be first off the ranks.
Yeah, Microsoft 365 Business Chat. Use Continue to Outlook to set up a meeting in Microsoft Outlook. MC 985481. And yeah, I think what Daryl's talking about there is we want to be able to do more, right, with Copilot. And part of that, when we're having those chats, is maybe you want to schedule a meeting with somebody. Maybe you're generating content, you're getting answers, and you're like, oh, I want to schedule a meeting with them. And instead of leaving that space and going and starting and creating a new, Outlook entry and doing all that, would it be great to just type, I want to create a meeting about this, thing that I just had a conversation with Copilot. I want to have a meeting with Daryl. So let's schedule it. This is a functionality in BizChat. And I kind of frown at it because I'm like, is that still a thing? Or is it Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat? I don't know about the naming. But BizChat, we're having this conversation. and let's schedule a meeting. So what we're going to have, if you have a Copilot license, of course, is if you ask Copilot to schedule a meeting with somebody, then it's going to say, okay, I can help with that. And it's going to give you a button saying continue to Outlook. And that will open up and take you to Outlook to be able to schedule that meeting. Now, how functional is this? How beneficial is this versus just going to Outlook and open it? Well, we only have one screenshot and it doesn't show us what it's going to do in Outlook. Because if all it does is open Outlook, then I'm not sure that that's helpful. If it opens Outlook and pre-fills in all the information for me, selects the date and time, selects the person, puts in subject, puts in the body, and all I have to do is review that and make edits and click send, then yes, I like it. But we don't know. It does say it's rolling out mid-January 2025. So I went and tried it since we are around mid-January. And it doesn't work for me yet. Basically it says, if I type in now, schedule a meeting with so-and-so at this time, it says, it actually says, pick which so-and-so, like, pick the person you want. Okay. Or tell me which one. I tell them and it's like, oh, I can't see their calendar. I don't need you to see their calendar. I just need you to schedule a meeting. So hopefully this is better. Anyway, we'll see how this works. Now, this is, it says it applies to BizChat on Windows and Mac desktops and Microsoft Outlook for the web. So it's going to pop open Outlook for the web to do this for you, it seems like. But we don't have the screenshot, unfortunately. But like I said, rolling out in January, hopefully it helps. And I think that's the part of Copilot that I want is I want it to be able to do things, not just say, oh, here's the information. I want it to be able to just go and take action and do things for me. And we're getting there with various components. But for this one, I think I'm not as excited because I don't know exactly how it's going to work. But if it pre-fills everything in, big, huge thumbs up for me. So we'll see. And Daryl, once that meeting is scheduled, I want to know where in the world is that meeting recording going to be stored? Can you help me predict that?
Yeah, who could have predicted such a on-topic message to follow after that one? I think that was potentially by design, maybe. Yeah, okay. Let's get into it. Microsoft Teams. Oh, it's not a Copilot message. This one's brought to you by Teams. More predictable recording experience with who keeps the recording. MC 985482. Well, we started out with Teams meeting recordings, recording to the cloud, recording to the OneDrive of the person who started the recording, and that in itself became an interesting challenge. Daniel and I having a meeting, Daniel hits record, it goes to his OneDrive. Do I know that it's going to his OneDrive? Nope. What if I set recording to happen automatically and we had 5 or 6 people from our organization? Where would it save to? Whoever started the meeting. Okay, that's helpful. So it wasn't too long ago, but there was a change made that the recording gets saved into the meeting organizer's OneDrive, which means they may or may not be in the meeting, but it would go to their OneDrive. And that's helpful. At least we've got it going somewhere where we know where it will be. But unless you define some roles for who is a co-organizer for the meeting, you would then have to go back to that meeting organizer and say, hey, could you drop that meeting recording in the space where we're all working from so we can, use it and stuff like that. Yeah, so this actually is bringing about some more predictability. And I think the greatest part of this message is that it's going to call it out in the chat as like a little status message to say this is where it is being recorded. This is a good message where it's actually It got a good, useful screenshot. Recording has stopped, started, recording stopped, and then just at the footer there it says recording has been saved to Daniela Mandera's OneDrive. Great, now we know who to contact to get that recording or ask them to do something with it. A bit better still if you have gone through the steps to make someone a co-organizer, knowing that they're going to be at the meeting, then they have the right permission to do what they need to do to edit or share that recording. Any thoughts so far about that part of the message, Daniel? What do you think?
Well, I think that it's huge. The whole here's where the file's being stored in chat is huge. The big thing I think is this is not exactly where I want it to be, but I understand some limitation. The way I would want it to be is when I click record, I want it to ask me, where do you want it, or do you want it to go to the organizer, or do you want it have some flexibility there? But okay, we don't. But I think the one thing that it's talking about, especially if you don't have a OneDrive where the meeting is scheduled. So, for instance, a shared mailbox, then it's got a process where it's going to work through where the OneDrive, where the file is going to be saved.
So when it's a shared mailbox, Daniel, who is the organizer?
The shared mailbox? I mean, there is a person taking action, right, that's doing it. But the process here is very interesting because it's what it's going to do is say organizer. Well, if it's a shared mailbox, that doesn't have a OneDrive. So then it's going to go to co-organizers. But if you haven't defined them, right, because you have to define those manually. So if you haven't defined them, then the next point there, it says to the initiator of the recording. And then I guess it's got a fallback to the media storage. But so, for basic users, it's kind of like I don't think we're, not basic users. For regular old users who are just attending meetings, this is kind of complicated. But I think that throwing that message in where that recording is being saved is kind of big, so people can actually, where is this? Because sometimes you want to copy that recording somewhere to your meetings folder or something like that, so that you can do edits or whatever. I think that's kind of important.
Yeah. Actually, we'll talk a little about those. Oh no, we took that message off. There was going to be something about editing videos and from Teams meetings. Go and look in the message center; it's there, people. It's a good little note there about optimizing stuff. As we're talking through that, I was just thinking about those last two in the chain there. That the initiator of the recording is the person who hits record, or if you have set up auto recording, then it's someone from your organization that joins the meeting. It gets saved to their OneDrive. Again, we can see who. And if all else fails, I just wanted to have a quick go at explaining what is async media storage. I think that is when, sometimes we come up with, there's like an error in, it didn't manage to save it to anyone's OneDrive, but it still gives you almost like a temporary access for a certain period of time to go and play it and download it. And that's the direct from the media storage. It's only going to be there for a little while, and under normal good circumstances, it would go from there and into a person's OneDrive, but it's there as a backup, and so it'll be there for a period of time. But yeah, good to see a process there. And as we said, I think the best thing is that we are seeing now in the status message at the end of the meeting who has the recording. Yeah. Very good. So this is generally available, rolling out early March. So that's a little ways off, and expected to be complete by late March. But something to be looking forward to. And I agree with you, Daniel. Yeah, like it would be good to have that choice so that we know where that meeting recording will go.
At least we have this. At least we have that in there to know where it is. But yeah.
Hey Daniel, I often want to understand how people are using different applications so I can put my adoption efforts in the right direction and in the right place. And Copilot, funny how everyone's interested in how Copilot's been adopted. We have a dashboard for that, but how is that changing to help us get more information?
Yeah, we got to know how intense people are. Microsoft Copilot Dashboard. New Usage Intensity and Retention Insights, MC 986522. So you're right. It is important to understand how many users are using Copilot, sure. But it is actually more important, I would argue, to understand how often they're using it inside of a day, and what's the quality of those interactions. And so Microsoft's trying to address some of those points. So for this improvement to the dashboard, we'll be getting some new metrics, and it's around the frequency of that usage and consistency. How many actions are people taking? Not just did they open up Word and say summarize this document once that day. It's did they do that, and then they go talk in biz chat, and then did they do some other things? How many actions? So we're going to have some insight into that activity for users with Copilot. I make a little joke about intensity, because I saw this and I was like, how intense are you talking to Copilot? Come on, Copilot, get it done. That's kind of intense.
Sorry, I was just typing up a really big prompt there, really intensively.
You're just like rah, 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 like pounding those keys. No, it's just how are they having and this is one of those when you're having a conversation with Copilot, you ask one question, done, okay, you move on. Well, that's not a more intense kind of experience would be you're asking and then you get a generative response, and then you do some more, and then you're having ongoing. That's an indication of more adoption rather than just what's the weather today or whatever. So this is good. So we're going to get new cards with highlights for intensity and retention. A new data visual to group the number of active users by the actions taken. So, is it 1 to 5, 6 to 10, that kind of thing. And measuring the number of weeks. So again, it's not just about did they do one thing and then nothing. It's okay, you've done multiple, you're ongoing, and you've carried it over a number of weeks. So you're actually adopting it and making it part of your work. So helping you understand over time. This is rolling out worldwide late January 2025 and expected to be completed same time, late January 2025. It's one of those instant messages, kind of like instant coffee. Hopefully it tastes better. Daryl, I want to really understand how I can use Copilot, not just to schedule meetings, but I want to generate some videos that are fantastic, maybe instructional videos. Tell me how I can do that, sir.
I will not. No, I will not, because that will do me out of a job. Maybe. Wow. Look, we have seen some amazing stuff happen in the AI world with creating videos and the rapid improvements over time, going from the classic example of Will Smith eating spaghetti to Will Smith actually looking like it's Will Smith actually looking like he's eating spaghetti. Again, short little videos, but there are whole channels dedicated to the funny outputs of generative video AI, and people discussing the fears of losing their jobs to them. Anyway, this message, right, let's get into it. Video creation in Copilot Visual Creator, powered by Clipchamp, MC 986546. Clipchamp is going to help you through with Copilot to create videos. Wow. But not like Will Smith eating spaghetti. No. So the difference here is that where we see these tools out in other places, and it's generative. It is coming up with someone who's doing gymnastics and they're having trouble with the laws of physics, and so they're doing things right. But it's all kind of generated based on what you've asked and from scratch, or rather from training data. This is going to use your prompt, your request, to go to stock footage that Microsoft 365 have available to find clips that will match what you're asking for, and help to create the video that way. Termed as, what was it called? Enterprise compliant stock media. All right, so it's safe stuff. Might also say that it's a bit beige stuff, right? So you are going to potentially take a look at the message. There's a nice clip there of a man in cardigan using iPad for conversation. Don't know what the prompt was for that. Actually, what is the prompt there? It says, create a video that explains how to summarize Microsoft Teams meetings with Copilot. And Clipchamp's gone out, found maybe it is a couple of clips. And the first one that we see in the thumbnail there is a guy having a conversation, probably on Teams via iPad. So Clipchamp, the Visual Creator, has grabbed those clips. You've got an option in that thumbnail to then open in Clipchamp. That's when it'll open up your Clipchamp project. It'll have probably those, and I keep saying probably because we don't know what this looks like yet, but it'll have your timeline with your selection of clips, and then you can start to piece those things together based on stock footage. I think this is a good start, Daniel. I know that you and I, when we were reading this, and we kind of jumped the gun a bit thinking, enterprise compliant stock footage or stock media. Does that mean it's going to go to our library that we have created with our own enterprise clips and video and stuff and find it and use that? Not at this point. But what are your impressions in terms of what this first release will be like?
No, you're right. It's stock footage. I'm trying to remember if I saw if it was a sizzle reel or a demo of this at Ignite, and it was stock footage of video. It tries to piece things together. It's not going to be exactly, for this example, someone who is typing a summary of a meeting, right? That's not what, but it might have someone typing, and it might have some, whatever. It just, it's going to be, I think, a good start, but you're right. It would be really cool to get in our org assets and try to find some pictures or videos and pull those in too. But it's, it's a good start. I don't think it's going to be a click and finish kind of thing, meaning you put in a prompt, it creates it, and you say, yes, I'm using that. I'm done. I think you're going to open up in Clipchamp, you're going to make some edits and make it better.
Yep, certainly. Yeah, and so just to quickly talk about the limitations and what happens following that, it's going to grab it won't generate new video clips or animations. It's using the stock footage. Once there is a script generated, we'll select an appropriate audio and an imagery, and pop that in there. When you have created the video from the Clipchamp video project, it is stored in the user's OneDrive, who has had that prompt session, and of course it'll consume some storage along with that. And you can publish it from there, you can download it from there and use it wherever you need to. But I think it's a good first start. Maybe I could say this, it's a responsible first start. It would be, yes, difficult to come out of the gate with something that's generating things from scratch, because you could get yourself in a bit of trouble or have some quality issues if you're going to be using this for business or organizational purposes. So this is it's going to be available, rolling out mid-February and expected to be complete mid-March, just in time for me to demonstrate this in one of my talks. So we're going to create a video live, Daniel, in the session using Clipchamp. And then I think, as you suggested, maybe at the end of it, I might go, all right, so let's just see what Clipchamp comes up with Copilot. We'll see. Anyway, That is episode 365.
Woohoo! Yes, and don't forget, for those only for our listeners and our watchers on YouTube, send an email, contact@365mcs.com to enter in for the giveaway of a full year of Microsoft 365 Personal Edition subscription, US only, unfortunately, for now. So sorry about that. But send in your email with giveaway as your subject so you can be entered into the drawing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to everybody that sent in videos. It's really heartwarming, and really those stories that people tell of why they get benefit from the show. That's our payment. That's what we make out of this is that, and so it really was uplifting. We greatly appreciate it when people just say, "Hey, this does help," and so that's really we just yearn to help, right? That's what we were trying to do. So thank you so much.
And it's inspired us too as a way of perhaps doing this in different ways to get your thoughts, comments, and opinions in. So if you are happy to do the same thing again, or if you want to do it for the first time too, just turn on your phone. Have a discussion or a quick thought about a message that we've covered. We'd love to feature that on the show. It is really cool to see that and to have you part of the show in that way. So if you do that, then again, use contact@365mcs.com to tell us where that video is. We'll download it and we'll see what we can do to include it in the show. Yeah. But 365. Daniel, high five. Because, you left me hanging. Or did you? I don't know. The frames are slow. But we'll keep at it. We'll keep at it, people, until there's nothing to tell you about, because
there's always change. There's always change, and it's going to keep changing, and we're here to be your partner. So thank you, everybody, for sticking around these 365 episodes, and here's to 365 more. Thumbs up. It's a long time, but we're here for it.
I think someone said it nicely in one of their video clips, was something like good thing it wasn't 365,000 or something. I forget what it was.
I don't think we could do that many.
No.
Sorry.
All right. See you next week.
Thanks.
Bye
everybody.
for now.